Madam Speaker, I'm stunned to hear my colleague remind us how much they're speaking about Mr. Trudeau in his absence as if they miss him in the House. We have a new government of Canada with a new budget putting forward the economic efforts to grow Canada's economy. It's about investing in the army. We are a G7 country, and we need to have a strong army and defense. This will create a huge number of jobs in the country. What does he think about our investments in the Canadian Army? Thank you.
Member for Aurora Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Madam Speaker, I thank the member for the question, and he's sad that I mentioned the name Trudeau, whether he likes it or not. He's part of the party, and he thinks this is a new government. Well, it doesn't take a genius to look at the front bench and see the musical chairs they played with ministers being in different positions, Madam Speaker. It's obvious. The Minister of Finance today was a former Minister of Industry, the Minister of, I mean, you just look back and forth. What they've done is they played musical chairs with the front bench. Shame on them. We're talking about producing something, a document, a budget, that will address the needs of Canadians. Playing politics on that is shameful on behalf of this party and the Liberal government, Madam Speaker.
Questions et commentaires, l'honorable député.
The Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague for the speech. It was very interesting. Now, the budget is an important step, and there were a lot of things missing from the budget. Health investments, transfers to provinces in different areas, the housing crisis. So those are things that have been dealt with, but there are other things that have not been dealt with, such as justice. This particularly concerns me, Madam Speaker. This is something that I study in Parliament, and I've noticed that there are major problems with justice. I saw nothing about it in the budget. Will there be a new system for appointing judges, setting up prevention programs, assistance for victims, all sorts of things like that? There are all kinds of legal problems that are not being addressed in this budget. So I'd like to hear my colleague talk about that question.
Member for Aurora Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to thank my friend, the honourable colleague, for his question. He's right. There's precious little in this budget that dealing with the actual problem we have with housing, the actual problem we have with health care, the actual problem we have with employment. And onto the justice issue, Madam Speaker. I live in a community where in the last 60 days we've had 2 murders on the streets of Richmond Hill, quiet streets in Richmond Hill. I was also looking in the budget to see if we can get some kind of relief, some kind of focus, some kind of attention on how our justice system runs in this country. But unfortunately, it's not in here. This is a document full of rhetoric that does not respond to, in fact, Madam Speaker, just on the issue of immigration alone, which is a big problem in this country, page 311 scantily addresses the issue, but the top line is they're going to have to reduce the resources in immigration because they're going to be imposing 15% tax cut on the department. This is ridiculous, Madam Speaker. The government has missed the boat and continues to miss the boat on what really is affecting Canadians today.
The honourable member for Portage-Lucid.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to my honourable colleague for a very impassioned and appropriate speech. He worked in business. I'd like to get his understanding of if a business were to run in the way that would be adding $10 million in debt every hour like this government is set to with this inflationary budget, how long would you be able to stay in business?
The honourable member for Aurora Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Look, it's a formula for bankruptcy. That's what this is. But this government doesn't seem to care. Just pass on the debt to our children, to future generations, to our seniors that can't afford to eat, to children who are walking into food banks hungry. They're very good at heckling, Madam Speaker. But the bottom line is this, okay? Canadian families are suffering. 24,000 children are walking into a food bank hungry today. This is a good question. A business will go bankrupt if they spend more than they earn. That's Business 101. That's a lesson the Liberal Party, the Liberal government has never learned, and they have shown no indication that they have the capacity to learn it. Thank you.